Okay, we're about to do a Victorian corset, which comes in different variations. But the one we want to work on today is an overbust Victorian corset. So first thing is for you to do the shaping on the corset. And before that is done, you need to first indicate your bust point. The bust point for this draft is 32 cm. So I'll measure from my handpiece. 32 cm, which is around here. Now this is a point of 32 cm. Now once you have that, you need to indicate your underbust length. Underbust length for this draft is 42 cm. So we have it here. It's also important for you to do center back shaping, which is constant with 2 cm. Then connect back to the hip line. Once you've done this, we will now have to calculate what we have on the bust, on the underbust line, and on the waist for both front and back. I have 33 cm here. I have to calculate what I have on the back as well. This is 27.5. You have to add the two together. So that's going to give us that's 60.5 cm. That's what I have on the bust for the front and the back. You go do the same thing on the underbust area. This is 11, 30, 46.7. This is 55. Everything I have on the pattern for the underbust is 55 cm. Do the same thing on the waistline. This is 52.5. So all of these figures are what we have on the pattern for front and back on both bust, waist, and the underbust line. Now we need to compare what we have for the person's, half of the person's bust is 58.5 cm. Half of the underbust is 49 cm. Half of the waist is 50.5 cm. Now we need to look for the difference between the two. That would give us the excess and what we are going to use in doing the shaping of the overbust. Here I have 2 cm excess on the waistline. For the underbust, 6 cm excess, and for the bust I have 2 cm excess. Now this excess is what we are going to use to shape for the overbust corset, or the Victorian corset as it were. Now, first thing is, while you have all this detail, you need to first determine what your overbust length is going to be. The easiest way to get that is for you to either measure on the person from their underbust to the overbust area as desired, or you transfer whatever you have from the person's bust point to the underbust. This is 10, which means I'm going to go up by 10 cm as well, and that will determine my overbust line. Sometimes you might do lesser than what you have as your distance of bust point to underbust. For my drafts, I'm making use of the distance between bust point to the underbust, which is 10 cm. Now this is going to serve as my overbust line. Now we can start using the figures to draft out. First is, it's important for you to always connect from your overbust line to the underarm. Sometimes you can do it to this underarm point or do it to the base of the armhole. Whichever one suits you is right. Now, while we have that, I'm going to connect this. You can blend this to this. Now we have 2 cm as the excess on the bust. I'm going to take 1.5 cm on my true bust line, and I'm going to take the same 1.5 cm around here. I'll take the remaining half cm on the back bust line. Now we have 6 cm. Majorly, you also need to put in mind that most times you can have an overbust Victorian corset without necessarily having to do everything like other Victorian corset, because there are different style lines where you can achieve the same effect. Now I would like to have multiple lines or more style lines here so as to give my Victorian corset more pattern pieces. Now to do that, I'm going to look for the midpoint between my dart point and the waistline. This is 18 cm. Midpoint of it is going to be 9. Then look for a line to connect it. You can either slant it, but ensure it touches the armhole line. That is the easiest point where you can have it connected to. Now I have 3 different pattern pieces for the front. You can as well do the same thing for the back. But before we do that, let's determine the connection of the overbust line. Once you've done that, bring your roller, curve ruler here, and connect from this point to the base of this. And I said you can as well do it this way. The implication of following this line means the back line is going to start at the base of the armhole. You can slant it down or take it up. For the one we are doing, I'm going to take it a bit above the bust line. Now I have that. I've settled that aspect. Next thing for me to now do is to share the excess of the underbust area. Now, because we're doing Victorian corsets, most times you can give more sharing on the underbust area along the dart line than you do on other side. Now I'm going to take 3 cm on this line. I'm going to take 1 cm on this line. That's 4 cm. I'm going to take another 1 cm on this part, and I'll take 1 cm on this part. So I have 3 cm plus 1 cm, that's 4 cm. Another 1 cm, that's 5 cm. Another 1 cm, that is what, 6 cm, which indicate that I've exhausted all the excesses around the underbust, and that is good to go with. Now let's come to the waist. For the waist, we have 2 cm extra excess left. I'd rather take it on the side. Now to do that, I'm going to come inward here by 1.5 cm on the front waistline. Then I'll take 1 cm on the back waistline. One beautiful thing about drafting this pattern is you have a chance of determining how much more you take on the pattern without it doesn't affect it, because more of the corset is that when you're done with it, you have to lace the back and you need more reduction to have the effect of the corset shape. Now once you've done that, connect with your ruler. Gradually connect with your ruler. And for these shaping parts, most often you can come out 1.5 cm. Let's connect this part. Now while we've done this, you will have to do a little bit of blending around here so that place doesn't look too sharp. We have to also connect here. Now before we connect here, there is something I would like us to do. Because we are doing Victorian corsets, let me go ahead and do it, then I'm coming back to that point. Now, while we have this, it's important to frame the upper bust area of your corset, and that is going to give it enough balance. To do that, we're going to take on this part 1 cm and we're going to take on this part 1.5 cm. For sometimes you can decide to look for the midpoint of the neckline. This is 7. Then make use of an imaginary line from bust point to that point. Then where you have this, then you can as well look for the midpoint of the armhole. That's 28, that means that's 0.14. At this point, you're going to take 1 cm, you connect back, and at this point as well, you're going to take another 1 cm, reconnect back, and you're going to take another 1 cm around here as well. So let me use my marker to highlight that point for you to see. 1 cm, 1 cm, 1 cm. So it shows that I'm going to close those areas. That's to help you have some few contour shape in those areas. So all these ones are actually going out. This is also going out. And this part is also going out. Now for the Victorian corset, the front can be straight, it can have a plunging V shape or a slight V shape, depending on your choice of design or your preference of styling. Now that I have this, now the next thing for us to also do that's also important is for us to have some firmness around the style lines that we have created. you can have another firmness of 1 to 2 cm. So I'm going to do 1 cm, 1 cm to the right. So once you do that, you connect it back to this line and you connect this back to this line. Now you have to blend with your ruler so as to ensure that this part. Now don't forget that all of this pattern is going to have a flow from there to this dot line, this point X and point Y. This is the flow of the pattern, and the second draft is from here to this point while we have the third one. So it gives us CF1, CF2 and the CF3. Now with this we have been able to actually cover for the front. But when I'm done with the back, I'll come here and show you how to close this dart. Once you close it, you reblend, then you can reconnect your your Victorian corset pieces according to each panel. Now for me, I'm going to add to blend, but you will not get the blend right when you do it this way. You need to first close the old darts. That's to ensure a little bit of contouring around the upper bust area.